What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We've got another episode of Value Hunting as we head into Game Week 4 on Sorare NBA. In this video, we are going to be diving in to find the plays that provide the most value so you can make the best possible lineup so we can start winning some fantasy rewards. And if this is your first time at Elite Fantasy Hoops, do me a favor, like the video, hit the notification bell, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. And good news, we are giving away yet another rare tier card at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Well, we're officially a full week into the NBA season, and that means we're riddled with injuries already. We saw Steph Curry miss his first game last night. Lauri Markkanen left the game halfway through. We saw one of the most gruesome injuries. I'm not going to put a clip in here from the Utah Jazz wing, Taylor Hendricks. We've got guys resting on back-to-backs, and all of that is bad news for basketball, but it does provide some opportunities for fantasy basketball. So let's dive in with some of the plays that are projecting the best this game week. Now, let's start with the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry already ruled out for a couple of games, so we'll have to wait and see what that situation looks like. And again, we'll talk more about that on Live Before Lock, so make sure you tune into that Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. But we saw the first game without him last night. They were also without Andrew Wiggins, and they're also without DeAnthony Melton, which left them with a pretty thin rotation. However, the Caps are a little funky, so even though it might scream out like insane value, I'm not sure if it's there unless Andrew Wiggins is going to continue to miss time. Everybody and their mother thought Jonathan Kuminga would have been a smash play with no Wiggins and no Steph Curry and Melton. However, Steve Kerr still went out of his way to make sure he barely played. We saw a Lindy Waters sighting. Excuse me, who? We saw a lot more Moses Moody, but we did finally get to unleash the pod god, Brandon Pajemski. So I just wanted to mention this situation up top because if Wiggins continues to miss time, this will provide a lot of value. However, if Wiggins is back, I think people will still be excited about this situation, and I think you might want to stay away from it. But here's a situation you do want to attack. The Boston Celtics have 2 games this upcoming game weekend, and they're a back-to-back. Now, normally we want to stay away from teams that have a back-to-back. However, with the Celtics, we want to attack them because we know they don't have Kristaps Porzingis yet, and they know that Al Horford is over 55, so he is not going to be playing both of these games, which means our 2 favorite backup bigs in the league, we have Xavier Tillman and Luke Cornett, who are both going to project well and provide a ton of value. Xavier Tillman has a cap of 7 and projects for 20, while Luke Cornett has a cap of 8 and projects for 18. And honestly, you can play either one of them because without Al Horford, both of those bigs are going to get extended run, and they don't have to do much to get there. Now, when looking at roster construction, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to put them in a champion lineup. If you have to do it to make your lineup perfect, I totally get it, but I don't know if they have the massive ceiling. However, they do make for fantastic daily plays, underdog plays, and most importantly, contender plays. If you want to get real frisky with it, we saw what Peyton Pritchard did to the Milwaukee Bucks when the Celtics were full strength with back-to-backs. Maybe they decide to rest somebody like Tatum, White, Holiday, or Jaylen Brown, and then somebody like Peyton Pritchard would really get a boost. But that's just speculation. We do know that Al Horford will not play both of these games, so Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman, absolute smash plays. Next situation we have to take a look at is the Utah Jazz. Now, Taylor Hendricks was somebody that I was excited about later in the season. It was such a brutal injury. I'm so bummed out for the second-year guy who's absolutely missing the rest of the season. But the guy that benefited the most from this injury from the fantasy perspective is John Collins. Collins, who we thought was going to be starting anyways, is now coming off the bench. And even without Hendricks, he still came off the bench. But the biggest change was his usage and his minutes. Collins ended up playing 23 minutes, dropping 18 points and 7 boards. But the play that we need to keep in mind is Kyle Filipowski. The rookie played basically the entire second half when Lauri Markkanen didn't come back, logging 12 points and 8 boards on pretty efficient shooting. And the other rookie who actually stood out was Cody Williams. The rookie from the Utah Jazz started in place of Taylor Hendricks and then played 30 minutes in that game. Now, of course, Keontae George, Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, who actually moved to the bench, but all of those guys will still project as decent plays. But now that we're a couple of weeks away from that rookie craze, I think we can go back to the well on some of these guys like Cody Williams and Phil Powell. And I don't think they'll be as popular or as expensive. All right, next up we have the Brooklyn Nets, who have 2 games this game week. And we learned a little bit about the Nets and what they're going to do this season, this current game week, because they did have a couple of games, and it was a back-to-back. And what we've seen so far is Ben Simmons only played 1 of the 2 games on a back-to-back, and Nick Claxton already got ruled out for tonight, so he's only going to play 1 game on a back-to-back. So that's good information for us moving forward, because if we see the Nets having back-to-backs, we know that those guys are probably only going to play 1 of the 2 games, and means we can attack some of their other pieces like Dennis Schroeder, who had a monster night last night. But the Nets don't have a back-to-back this upcoming game week. So Ben Simmons, whose cap is only 19, projects for over 33 so rare points. So I really like attacking that spot with Ben Simmons. His turnovers have been a little messy to start the season. However, he's a stock guy, right? Gets a lot of steals and blocks. We know he's afraid to shoot. Fortunately, he grabs a lot of rebounds and assists, so he doesn't have to do too much to get over that 19, and I still think we can find a ceiling game at some point from Ben Simmons. In staying with the Brooklyn Nets, let's look at Cameron Johnson. Cameron Johnson's actually been shooting the lights out of the ball to start the season. He is a cap of 23. He also projects for over 34.5 points. And again, the Nets have been playing competitive games. They've been losing, but playing competitive games as they went into overtime last night with the Denver Nuggets, who are having a weird season. But now that the muddy waters are clearing up with how Brooklyn's going to attack this season and their rotations, I do think we can use some of these plays. So Ben Simmons and Cameron Johnson, two of my favorite plays this game week. Also, one thing to note is Nick Claxton. They've really been limiting his minutes. He's been coming off the bench. He's still been efficient and effective coming off the bench, but it's just something to monitor. If Nick Claxton continues to project well, keep that in mind before plugging him into your lineup. We got one more value play coming at you, but before we do that, I just want to take a second to shout out the members who have signed up for our VIP program. And if you haven't done that, find the link in the show notes. Get signed up today. It gets you access to this very content way before everybody else. We do a live after dark show on Mondays and Fridays just for the members, and we do a daily stream looking at the daily game on Sorare NBA, but also ranking all of the underdog ranks and just kind of talking through the game week. And it's also a great way to support our channel and all the good stuff that we're doing over here. So please take a second. If you're into it, sign up and let me know. And also join the Discord. There's a link for that too. You can keep the Sorare NBA conversation going all day. The last play of the game week is Christian Braun. He's got a cap of 16 and projects for over 29 Sorare points. Brown's been attacking the rim a little bit more, knocking down a couple of corner threes, but really what Braun does is fill up the stat sheet, whether it's in rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. And the Denver Nuggets and Michael Malone clearly don't trust their bench. If you've looked at Russell Westbrook's stat line, you understand why. Julian Strawther is going to continue to project to be a nice play, but I'm trying my hardest to talk about new plays this game week instead of the same four guys like James Harden, Zubac, and Dyson Daniels. So Christian Braun is that guy. He's going to play heavy minutes, and he's going to find different ways to collect points. I don't know if he's got a massive ceiling, but he's got a very high floor. He's definitely going to outpace his cap. There is one more situation that I wanted to monitor here. Scotty Barnes left the game the other night with an eye injury after taking an elbow up there. He's already been ruled out for tonight's game against Toronto. We also had the return of RJ Barrett, who looks pretty solid in his first game, and Emmanuel quickly looks like he's going to return any day now. So one, that makes the Toronto Raptors at least a little bit more competitive. So that blowout risk, which we've seen both the highs and the lows of Scotty Barnes this season, if the Raptors keep it close, he puts up a great number. And if they get smoked, he plays like 25 minutes and it's really gross. But with RJ coming back, with IQ coming back, both of those guys are going to project well and be decent plays, but it just makes the Toronto Raptors team a little bit sharper. And if you're watching this before the games tip off on Wednesday night, let's pay attention to Jakob Poeltl's line. And not because we should be playing Jakob Poeltl moving forward, but because the Charlotte Hornets have been getting decimated for like the 5th year in a row by opposing teams' big men. So if Poeltl does his damage again tonight, and maybe you can play him in the daily game, lock that away in the back of your mind to take a look at Charlotte's schedule each game week, and maybe we can find some sneaky plays that people aren't on. That's going to do it for our game week 4 plays, and now it's your turn to win a rare tier card. Who is your favorite play heading into the weekend? As always, appreciate you guys engaging and checking out the content. Do me a favor, if you've stayed this long, make sure you like the video and hit the little notification bell, and we'll see you live before lock.